Who doesn't like a good bottom rumbling? Not anybody that I know, because bottom rumbling is fun. And that's why, in this video, we're taking a look at the Sim Racing Studio Shake Kit. The Shake Kit consists of a pillow containing 4 audio transducers, a power supply and a power box containing 2 sound cards and 2 audio volume knobs that allow you to control how much rumble your gluteus maximus will experience during your sim racing sessions. Before we get in the car, we've got the Sim Racing Studio software on the screen. This is the same software that the power wind fans, you can't see it on the camera. I've got the power wind units. We've got a review of that in the video description if you want to see the power wind units. Same software for that, where you control the maximum speed of the fans and everything. But we're, of course, using the Shake box. And you can see we've got the sound card selected, which is the way that this sends the information to the transducers. You can see each transducer over the wheels of this sort of graphic of a car. And you click on it, and you can then feel that that's my rear left buttock vibrating, front left buttock vibrating, rear right buttock vibrating, and front right buttock. Although I say front right buttock, most people only have 2 buttocks. It's more the thighs that are vibrating. Of course, if you actually sit on this wrong, you'll find your testicles vibrating. Or if you're a lady, you might have a bit of a labia disaster going on. So watch out for that and make sure you sat on it properly. Otherwise, that'd be very embarrassing indeed. But at least with this, we can check how it feels in terms of an actual actuation of the button, and then you can go in and do live tune this. You can set the volume of specific aspects of what you want to feel. The specific actuators, you can set the volume of them. So if you think it's a bit too noisy, you can do it in the software. I have this on maximum on the actual controller box. That's on max, and then I'll just adjust it in the software. And then you can choose if you want the engine vibrations, if you want gear vibrations, suspension, road vibrations. You can just adjust this to what you like. This is how I generally like it. I find having it set up like this tends to give me the most amount of feel. And recently they added this acceleration and de-acceleration options, which basically when you put your foot on the brake and the car's de-accelerating, the front actuators or transducers, I should rather use the proper word there, the front transducers sort of vibrate as you de-accelerate, which gives you a sense of sort of de-acceleration going on there. But that's how we got it set up. Really nice that you've got these settings, so you can dial it into what you like. But let's actually get on the circuit. We've got the Mazda MX-5 Cup and Brands hatch. Nice and easy. We're using Assetto Corsa Content Manager to launch the game. Check out a video on that. Absolutely amazing piece of software for managing AC. Superb. First thing you notice with the Shake Kit is even when parked, as soon as the engine turns on, you get a little bit of a vibration for the engine. So it's like when you're sat in a real car and you can feel the engine turning over. It's not exactly how you feel a real car engine turning over, but it's actually not that dissimilar from just that little bit of underlying rumble that you get. And it's really nice in the sense that it makes you feel that you're in something that's got a bit of activity going on with it, even though there's obviously nothing going through the steering wheel yet because we're not moving. So that's really nice, and that's just the engine vibrations. And as you rev up through the engine, you feel the vibrations go to a high frequency, faster vibration. And when the engine's sort of more idling, it's more of a like chuggy, that sort of diesel engine feel that you get if you're sat in a diesel car and you just first turn it on. Though maybe not as pronounced as an 80s diesel car, but it's getting there. It's getting there. So let's pull away. And first things first, is my steering wheel's not on, so great job. 10 points to Gryffindor there. We are off and we've got steering. It's a miracle. So once you start rolling, immediately you start to feel the transducers move into action with you feeling the individual actuation of each transducer depending on which wheel is having its suspension compressed, or which wheel is compressing the suspension rather. So as you go around a corner here, the left-hand transducers are more active, and I can feel that there's various bumps on the circuit which aren't necessarily as noticeable through the force feedback steering wheel, and you kind of feel it as if the track is sort of almost going underneath you, with it giving you a sense of you actually being sat in something that's being jostled and moved around a little bit. Now, well, you go over the curb in there and you feel the right-hand transducers picking that up, and much more noticeable bump than the vibrations you get from the road surface. But let's be clear about this. It doesn't, of course, feel as active as going over bumps in a real car, and of course it's nothing like if you had like a D-box solution or one of those larger motion rigs. It's very much sort of subtle vibrations to describe what's going on with each wheel, and they're sort of very much on and off vibrations. It's not like a sort of smooth bump kind of feel that you get with real cars and actual full-size motion rigs. It's very much a sort of sharp little vibration to abstractly convey that that's what that wheel's doing. That suspension is compressed, and now it's not compressed because the transducer's not vibrating. Now there is a degree of the vibrations on each transducer, so it's not just a case of it being a total on and off or a single type of vibration feel like you'd get in, say, an Xbox controller or mobile phone rumble motor. It's more subtle than that and more varied than that. You certainly notice a massive difference in the type of little vibration actuated from just the track bumps and the compression going over the normal road surface, and then the vibrations you get when you go off-road or when you go over the curbing. There's a lot more variation there, but it really isn't anything like a real car or a full-size motion rig, which is pretty obvious. I mean, that's going to be pretty obvious that that's the case, but for clarity's sake, get your expectations set in the right ballpark, and once you have got your expectations set in the right ballpark, it's actually really nice and enjoyable, and it definitely adds an immersive quality and adds to the fact that you're in something that's moving and that you've got four wheels that are each doing independent things. Now, I don't know to what extent the force feedback really impacts the transducer movement impacts the underlying ability to drive, if it really helps you drive better. I don't think it really does. I think it's much more about immersion and again, I say, conveying that you're in something that's active on the screen. It makes that feel much more believable. But in terms of raw functionality, the only things I've really noticed from a sort of functionality point would be there's certain parts of circuits where they're a little bit bumpy and the bumps don't come through the force feedback, and I've noticed this in iRacing. There's some bumps that unsettle a car that it's not obvious why the car got unsettled with your steering wheel force feedback particularly, whereas you will tend to feel those bumps a little bit more through the transducers, and it gives you a bit of a clue that the track in a particular place might be particularly bumpy, and so that can help describe why the car unsettles a bit easier. It's not going to bail you out or anything, but it does give you more of a clue as to what's going on in the simulator and why what's happened has happened. Also, you definitely notice when you go over curbing subtly. So on a steering wheel, you might just graze the curbing and not be particularly aware of it, that you're on the curbing, or the back wheel is still on the curbing when you're getting on the throttle in certain scenarios. But through the seat you can feel that the wheels are still on the curbing, and really nice. It's kind of like a sort of virtual 3D effect, and I noticed this on motion rigs actually, which it's nice that you get this from something that's quite simplistic. But when you're on a motion rig or with the seat pillow, you notice the first transducer pick it up, and then as the back tyres go over it, the rear transducer picks it up. So you get a sort of 3D effect of the track actually going underneath you. And when you drive in VR with this, it magnifies things and just adds a little bit more to immersion. So I think that's a really nice effect, and it's something I noticed on the big motion rigs. It's something I was surprised that it's obviously nowhere near as good with this transducer pillow, but you do get an inkling of that, and obviously this is a lot cheaper and a lot more convenient to get going than a full motion rig, or even putting transducers all over your rig. So outside of the actual individual tyre feel and the sort of conveyance of the tyre movement, and then of course the engine rumble, as we said when the car was parked, a really nice effect is the gear shift effect. When you change through the gears, you get a nice clunk. All the transducers activate at the same time when I do this, and so you just get a nice little bump. It's not gonna blow your nipples off. It's not a full-size motion rig. My God, I'm being shaken to death. It's just a nice clunk that reminds you that you've gone into gear, and it's particularly nice when you're driving Formula 1 cars like the F2004 and you're smashing down through the gears. It's like dunk, 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 and you can feel it a bit more, rather than when you're just driving with the 4-speed back wheel. It's not as obvious. So it's just sort of like a nice luxury of having a little extra bit of feel. Now, the other effect that we talked about when we were in Windows was the brake and acceleration rumble. When you get on the brakes, all you feel is just the two front transducers just vibrate at the given frequency as you deaccelerate, with a nice sort of variation to that vibration. So let's get up to speed, and I'll put the brakes on and try and describe it. I know this is kind of force feedback and haptics and feel and stuff it's one of those things you really kind of have to try. It's like with the VR headsets. It's all very well me trying to be poetic and describe it, but you have to try it. I'm trying my best here. I'm trying my best. So as I deaccelerated there, I could feel the rumble from the steering wheel as well, because this car's feels like this car has some ABS kicking into it, but also the deacceleration effect on the pillow. I feel the front transducers just vibrating and picking up the fact that I'm slowing down, and it's also picking up a degree of the fact that the suspension's compressed on the front, and so vibrating a bit more harshly over the track, little track bumps and track texture. So it just adds to the immersive experience, and that's the main point of it, I think, is it just makes you feel more that you're in something active. And what I really noticed was a while back, I didn't have it on the rig, and it feels like something's missing, because you have it there, and it kind of just becomes the norm once you've used this for about 4 or 5 hours, and it just becomes part of the experience. And so when you take it off and then you use a rig without it, you're kind of like, oh, it feels a bit still, a bit calm, a bit passive. So I think that's pretty much proof in the pudding that it's just a really nice, immersive addition to the sort of sim racing experience. So let's get out of the car and let's do some final thoughts and our conclusion on the Sim Racing Studio Shake Kit. Final thoughts. It is a pillow, but I have to say it's not the most comfortable of pillows, because it just comes by default with one sort of layer of this sort of basic foam stuff. Now, you can order additional foam now from their website and have it pre-installed into it, so you can get it so it's a little bit more comfortable out of the box. But with the single layer of foam, it's not the most habitable of places for your buttock. Though I have to say, I've used this for over a month now, and I've sat on it perfectly fine. I have a bad back, and it's not causing any problems with that. So it's manageable. It just depends how delicate you want to treat your buttocks, Secondly, to that, I'd say the actual build quality and construction of it. Now, the actual pillow itself is, it's quite a nice stitched pillow with a bit of it with a zip on it. But you notice on the inside with the foam, it's kind of like taped. The transducers are sort of taped in there, and then they go in these little foam pockets, and it works. I've not had any problems with it coming apart or anything. But it doesn't look like something you would buy from a top-notch tailor's in central London. It works, but it's not a beauty. I think some people would probably be more critical of the looks than me, but it's worth noting that out. Also, you do notice with the controller box that you control the volume with, which actually just leave on full volume and use the software to change the volume of. But with that controller box, you notice the build construction of that is kind of a bit tacky, plasticky. It doesn't look like a mass-produced dye molded container for it. It looks like something that's kind of just been stuck together a bit, and the dials come off very easily from the little brackets at the dials that you control the volume are go on top of. Outside of that, there's not really that many negatives, to be honest. I mean, it works. That's the main thing. You plug it into your computer, you install their software. Oh, actually, you do have to double check your sound settings in Windows. You install their software, you just have to make sure in Windows that you select the right, you've got 4 or 5 channels on your sound card. It's all documented in their instructions, but that's the only fiddly thing, really. Once you've set that up, and once your software's installed, it works, and so off you go. I'd say it's probably like 10 minutes to get it set up, and then since then, I've done nothing with it really. And it just works. And the software, they do software updates all the time. So when I first got this, it didn't have that de-acceleration and acceleration effect. They just rolled out a software update thing. You get a little notification on your computer, you update the software, and it just loads and runs. And I think, actually, to be honest, that really is the biggest, apart from the fact that it vibrates your bottom, the fact that once you've installed it, it just works with the simulator. So I don't have to load a specific profile for a specific game. I've just got it running, it's minimised, and I load up Assetto Corsa, it works. Assetto Corsa Competizione, first time I loaded that up, it just worked. iRacing, it just worked. It just turns on, it just works. Some of the specific games, you might have to set some output options in the games, but the simulators I play, iRacing, Assetto Corsa, Racer, what have you, it just works. So, really, really good. I think that's the big thing of it. It's just easy to get going, and it just works. So if I was to improve on it, I think I don't know. Maybe I'd like even more vibration, but it's because I've used crazy motion rigs like the mental D-box systems that cost £20,000 plus, and then some of the other actuated motion rigs that are sort of in the £5,000 to £30,000 range. This obviously is just a lot cheaper, and it'd be nice to be able to get a similar thing to a motion rig for as cheap as this, but that's not going to happen, is it? But all in all, then. It's just really good. I think it is really good. I think if you use this and then you stop using it, it feels like there's something missing. That's the main thing. It definitely adds to the immersion. It's an immersion boost. It won't magically make you better at sim racing. It's not needed. You don't need this. I mean, how much of the sim racing stuff do you actually need? But you know what I mean. You don't need it, but I think it's really nice. There's not really much more to say, really, other than what I would highly recommend doing is check out Sim Racing Garage's review of it. He takes everything apart, measures it on little scales that say hello. His videos are absolutely awesome. In his video, he did a little bit more diving into it and looking at the components, and that's what his channel's really good for. Whereas in this video, I wanted to do more talking about what it's like to actually use, because that's what he didn't tend to focus on. So hopefully my poetry and his dismantling go together to help you make an informed decision on this sim racing shake kit pillow. Guys, don't forget to click the subscribe button. Don't forget to give us a like if you enjoyed yourself, and don't forget to drink copious amounts of tea. That's what I'm going to be doing. I will see you guys in the next live stream, which will be very soon. Thanks very much for watching, and goodbye, everybody.